Hello, this is saxophonist Antonio Parker, and this is A Conversation in Jazz, where we are promoting jazz through telling stories. Today, we are presenting part 2 of our interview with master drummer, band leader, educator, and original Blackbyrd member, Mr. Keith Killgo. We ask you to subscribe to our channel, hit the bell icon so we can let you know when we are posting another video or going live. We also ask you to donate to our Cash App in order to support the channel and to help us to produce future videos. Our Cash App is $Jazzology 101. That's $Jazzology 101. Enjoy the video. We're back. This is A Conversation in Jazz, and we're talking to master drummer, band leader, educator, and original Blackbyrd member, Mr. Keith Killgo. Brother Keith,
hey,
man, I learned in that first segment, I learned a lot that I didn't know. So thanks for sharing. I appreciate you sharing.
Anytime.
So the next question is, man, how did we meet?
Well, I was playing at Blues Alley. I had a band called Crosswinds, and there was we were on break, and I went up to go. There's a little like a falafel joint. It was on Wisconsin Avenue. I mean on M Street, and I heard you playing.
I was playing on the street corner.
You were playing on the street. Had your saxophone open,
and I did that. I did that through high school and at Howard. 10 years I playing on the street. That's how I made my
And I said, well, man, this cat sounds good, you know. So instead of putting any money in your thing, I gave you my card. And said, hey, man, you want a gig?
That's how I remember. And then we were in class. We had a class together. I think we had with Stones.
Stones class.
Yeah, we had Stones.
Reverend Stone.
Mr. Stone's fighting. I wish I could interview Mr. Stone.
Oh my God, he was.
But I remember us having that class together.
Yeah. At Howard. And I remember when we graduated, because we graduated together.
I was getting my master's.
That day, and I wasn't even there. And you call me, man, they called your name. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just send the thing whenever they get it.
Well, I remember, man, after I graduated, because I was living in the dorms for the most part when I was at Howard. Right. But I finally got the master's, so I got the first. I was living in a house I was sharing with Mr. Raymond Angry.
Yeah, right, on the corner. And Aaron Walker.
So you remember we used to rehearse over there. Yeah. And that's the first time I had to come up with rent.
You see what I'm saying?
So man, I'm out there playing on the corner, man, and it seemed like when you need the money, because when I was in the dorm, this was just always have some money in my pocket. But now I'm trying to get rent. And now all of a sudden I'm looking at the covers of Bear, and I'm like, man, so what am I going to do? And man, I don't know, somehow out the blue, you called me, and to do a gig. I think we used to play at Tacoma Station.
Tacoma Station, man.
And man, that I don't know if you know, man, that helped pay my rent. But I told Blakey. I mean, I watched your leadership. Man, I remember Crosswinds. And man, you had some. Do you still have that music, man?
Yeah.
Man, you need to record some of that music. That was that was some unique music. It was real different. Now, was any of that music influenced by your experience with the Blackbyrd?
Well, it was a result of.
Okay.
Once I figured out how to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, because I think the songs that I wrote for the Blackbyrds, like Time Is Moving and Flying High and stuff like that, were more geared to try to keep the Blackbyrd sound.
Okay.
Whereas the songs that I wrote for myself, like Mood for Love and Station and all that, were songs that I just wanted to write, that didn't really have in it. Of course, you could hear it possibly in it, but, I wasn't writing it for that,
Man, I remember, and going back to the lessons I learned playing with you, man. Back in them days, man, you would have us, I mean, you didn't, like you, I'm on there, you don't know who's soloing next. you behind the drums. I mean, piano.
Right.
And then, man, so I'm in the middle of a solo, and all of a sudden, I mean, drums drop out, everybody drop out.
Right.
And you would go off the stage and go to the bar. And I'm up there, I'm playing, and something in my mind said, just keep playing.
Keep playing. Keep playing.
I said, and man, but it was man, it was just I'm learning. It's like, oh God.
Yeah.
And you know, back in them days, Tacoma was packed.
Packed.
Yeah, I mean, the ladies,
it was,
you know, Howard and all that, man, it was some fun. It was some great times, man. But man, I grew so much playing like in that band.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it was a thing. Like I was, I was going through whatever I was going through too. You know what I'm saying? Personally, and that was like my real outlet. You know, and I had won my position there because I started playing there with Marshall, you know, keys, and
what's my man tenor player that East Coast Offering?
Oh, Tim Ironman.
I've been saying, I met a lot of cats. Tim Ironman, all the cats.
You know, and so, but you know, it was like I learned the old school. They would do like Joe. When I played with Joe, we played in Philly at the Aqua Lounge. God, wherever that was, Market Street or something. And they would, man, we'd be playing bip bop sip. So you play through like the saxophone solo, the trumpet solo. Woody Shaw was playing, you know, Pete Yellen playing alto, and you know, Chick played once, and then Joanne Burkeen, and then Hal Galper, and you know, and then they drum solo. What drum solo? My arm was stuck. The damn song was so fast, I couldn't even think to do nothing else. So like, you know, if I stopped
trial
doing
by
this,
fire, baby.
Yeah, you know, and so it just made me think, okay, what did I learn from that? I learned from that you gotta be prepared. You can't use it all at one time. You gotta preserve some of that. So when you get to your spot, you straight. You know, it's like a boxer. You know what I'm saying? When you're in a fight, you know, you can't give it all up in the first 2-3 rounds because you got 9 to go. You know, or whatever. And so those were lessons that we learned together. You know, and Tacoma Station was so forgiving of everything. You know, you could just play.
And you brought, man, I mean, like Blakey, man, you brought a lot of cats, young cats in. I mean, what's my man used to have his knee up?
Clifton Brocky. I love him.
Raymond Angry came to. I remember, man, one time we were at Tacoma Station, you know.
Munir?
Yeah, Munir. I'm going to tell you stories, man. But one time I remember we playing, and I think I was playing saxophone. Raymond Angry was playing piano. Remember Theron Shaw?
Oh, yeah,
guitar. I don't know. I think Orville, not Orville, Wardell. Wardell Howard playing bass. And
Will Knowles.
So we do a whole set. The great go out the set, and you get on the mic and say, hey, "You're listening to Keith Killgo and the Chocolate Chips." Man, I felt it was all dark skin cats.
All dark skin cats.
Man, I fell out.
Woo, yes.
Oh man, I mean, it was just fun. And then there was another time, I brought Munir on. We used to play this
Black Narcissist.
Black we used to play Joe Henderson's Black Narcissist, and by the time I kind of figured, okay, just keep your eye on the drum. So I knew. So whatever goes wrong, whatever goes on, look at the drum. He'll direct. But anyway, so we ending the song. Dee dun 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 ba and you cue that last note. So this was Munir's first time playing with me. So ba da 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 and then Munir said ba and he hold a note and you fold your arms and you smile and I'm sitting there and he's looking side to side like what's going on. And then when he finishes playing that last note, you said Oh man, I fell out laughing, man. That
it was his cadenza.
But man, that was. Yeah. But and we were all students. Most of us, we were all students.
Yeah, man.
So you really people don't. I don't know if you know this, man, but sometimes you don't really recognize but you giving a platform for cats just coming graduating out of Howard University, man, and giving a platform for us young cats, man. That appreciate you.
No, I appreciate. I mean, it was one. I was always like I kind of learned it from Byrd, because Byrd kind of learned it from Art Blakey. You know, is that you go get the young cats.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, not to say that the other cats are not whatever they are, but you guys got fresh ideas, man. I mean, it's new to you, you know, and it's so much fun.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we have our whatevers, but the point is, so the energy, man. You know,
no doubt.
And that energy is what, to me, is about the music. You know what I'm saying?
And you were always very patient. I mean, when you did it wrong, you got it. You got the. Well, you know.
Yeah, right.
But it was always in love.
Right.
It was always. It was just a ground. I mean, a opportunity for to grow.
Yeah, and play and see the difference is playing in the garage.
Yeah.
When you're playing in front of an audience, some real people.
Yeah.
So you got to make it. You got to make it do what it do, whatever it is, and they don't really know what's really going on, but they know there's something going on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's some energy there.
And so I'm going to ask you. So one thing I like to, your drumming, man. Is I've always loved playing with you because, man, you know how to groove. You know how to make people dance. It's like your number. It's like, is that your number one philosophy in terms of drumming? It's groove.
Yeah. Well, I learned this way. Well, because I studied Buhana, and when I did my whole history of jazz, I mean, because jazz, the roots of jazz come from the church and come from slavery, and during the 30s and the 40s and the big band, I mean, that's what people did was dance.
Wow.
Okay. It didn't get slick till the cool jazz, and everybody to slick the mouse, everybody in the dark room, because the budget changed and you had 5 guys, and so it took that piece away from young people. That's why young people, we have a hard time, young people even understanding jazz or liking jazz, because they can't dance to it. And bebop just turned into hip hop, because that's really what, if you look at what it did melodically and the tempos and all that kind of stuff. So, my thing was always to put it in the pocket. But who I learned it from more than anybody else was Keith Betts.
Really? Bassist Keith Betts.
Yeah. Now, he played with Sarah Vaughan and Ella Fitzgerald also. Keith Betts, man, there was a center of gravity.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't even know how else to explain it.
Yeah.
There was a center of gravity, and
I was blessed to play with him.
Yeah.
And Ruben Brown, man. Yeah.
And this thing, I don't care what tune it was. Yeah. This thing was like, damn, okay, man. And you can't, and he'd look back at me and say, ain't you watching it?
Wow.
And I learned from him where that center is. I mean, I didn't, because we played with Jimmy Witherspoon and the blues, and playing the blues, man, the shuffles, man, and, he was, give his head up, and that thing did not move an inch, baby, no matter what kind of song. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute, this is, well, yeah. So, and then, of course, I listened to James Brown. I listened to a lot of stuff with groove, and the one thing that really brought it all home after that lesson, the Blackbyrd. We were playing at Malcolm X Park. It was DC Go-Go. It was Chuck Brown. It was EU. All Ricky Wellman. All the cats. So and it was like a political rally, and the mayor and the Fauntleroy and whoever, Marion Barry, whatever. And so when we got up there, and other ladies, so they booing for we even, we ain't even set up. Boo! So you're like, okay, look, okay, man. Whatever.
That's funny, man.
And so, we set up, man. We played the fastest version of the 3 songs, Walking the River, Happy Music, Rocky Park, that you could ever. That's on the plan. What was the most devastating part of even the booing? Okay, that we could get over it. Ricky Wellman went up and went bass drum. The whole 25,000 people started dancing at one time.
Wow. Really?
And I'm like, wait a minute. What are we doing up here? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And it was a boo.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, my God.
Wow.
Yeah. Because we ain't understand where the beat was, where the pulse was.
Yeah.
That's what taught me that.
Wow. So
That's what taught me that. Where that thing is, man, because if they ain't dancing to it, I mean, and then we just talked about it the other day. I mean, Miles, and God bless him, he was da-da-da-da, but there wasn't no dancing involved. He had to come get a drummer from D.C.
Yeah, exactly.
to put the groove back on it.
Yeah. No doubt. Yeah. That's what.
Yeah, man.
So you talked about Art Blakey, one of your influences, and being a drummer. And usually a drummer is just in the background. So you've been a leader, and I want to ask you, what's your idea of leadership? You've been a leader to me, like big brother. Learned a lot just about life. We traveled.
Oh
we
yeah,
talk
yeah.
a little about it. But were you born a leader, or did you? Because I don't know if leaders are made or if they're born. So, what's your idea of leadership?
My idea of leadership is you're born a follower.
Okay, you're born a wow.
Okay. In order to lead, you can't lead where you ain't never been.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
So you find people like my dad, like Andrew White, like Donald Byrd, and my mother, and then different areas of leadership, because it's not just this one type of leadership. There's lots of, there's subtle leadership. There's some leadership that's nonverbal.
Yeah.
There's leadership that's very verbal. And watching the success of their leadership.
Okay.
Is where the inspiration comes from. Okay. How did they do that?
Oh, wow.
How did they get these people to go and march 300,000 people on the mall? What did they do? So I think leadership comes with time. It comes with being very observant, shutting up, okay, and pay attention to what's going on. Yeah. Take notes, okay, and do research and explore and understand that in order to get if you have a goal in mind, something that you're trying to accomplish. Like I had a band when I was in high school. Okay, how I got that leadership ability was having watched and played with my father and them for all those years.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So when I met Joe and Orville, I mean, I was already in that leadership mode because I'd watched how they managed the rehearsals. Wow. How, Andrew White never came to a rehearsal unprepared. I mean, everything was, it was, wow. We didn't come down there just to jam. Yeah. This is boom, boom, here's your set list, here's the music, this was like organized. Yeah. And so when you go and you witness those kind of things, we played at the Kennedy Center, for this little thing. And man, they came in there, man, everybody had all the music, everything was written out. It was like, okay, we got an hour to do this. Leadership. Wow. And get through this thing. Yeah. That's and observing, and watching. Yeah. Watching, man, watching. Yeah. And how did they achieve this? How did they get from here to here? Yeah.
And that's something for young people to understand, because a lot of times they want to, and I remember I was a little head, and you think and we got this energy, and we got this, and we want to lead, and we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I mean, again, thoroughness. It's like I always use the example of a pilot. What part of the book could he not afford to have read?
Wow. Yes, right.
Okay.
That's right.
Right. there's nothing on that manual. If he don't, there's nothing we can skip over here. You know what I'm saying?
We got to get
we got to know this, you know. And I think young people have this energy because they've never seen leadership. It's not that they're trying to be headstrong. Some they are, but for the most part, they ain't never really seen what it looks like. Because all the people who like your idols, when you walk into a room, you don't even know they're there.
Wow. Yeah.
Because their presence is already
It's
already in the room.
Yeah.
It's already in the room.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
So, as a leader, at some point you decided to resurrect the Blackbyrds. I know, you know, how did that come about?
Well, a guy named Chris Morgans from London called me and said, "Hey, man, you know, what do you think about putting the band together, back together? Because we had tried some stuff earlier and whatever." And I said, "Okay, you know, let's give it a swing." So I, you know, talked to Joe and Orville, and everybody was cool. And I think Janelle played the first night, or Raymond. No, I can't remember. There's so many people. And I felt like I was ready. You know, I felt like, okay, it was time for me. Let's make it happen. Let's make this happen. Yeah. And we played.
Let's get our investment back.
Yeah. Let's go find out how we can make this thing more beneficial, not only financially, but even. And at that point, our musicianship, which we didn't understand, because remember, in those days, it was studio bands and with a lot of different people. And we never really played all this music. Not really played it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we played on a record a lot of songs we never even played live. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So we didn't even know what that's supposed to sound like. Or there was no arrangement or no whatever. And so like, wow, we got all this music. Man, let's play some of this music. You know, and we said, wow, we actually can almost play it now. Because we were struggling. We didn't know what the hell was going on. We were just.
And then another thing, and I noticed this with when you're playing with friends over a period of time, there's a certain synergy.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like, you know, everybody like, so it's like, so anybody could come to me. And I came in, I was able to join the band and travel to Europe with the band, man. And it was like stepping. I mean, y'all was like a glove, man. And it was like, wow. It was just a synergy that you guys had. Did that come out of your friendship and just playing together?
Well, not only friendship, but the years that we've played together and, you know, blew up each other's basements. You know.
That's
yeah. And so Joe and Orville and I could walk in a room right now.
Yeah, and it's I remember, man. I don't know. I'm grateful, man. You invited me. I was. To play and tour with the band.
Oh yeah,
So,
well, we had some.
What's the club? I remember
Jazz Cafe.
Jazz Cafe in London.
London, yes.
Man, so at this time, Roosevelt.
Oh yeah, Roosevelt.
Yeah, Benji Parecki. Yeah. So I remember this time, man. So we at the Jazz Cafe, man, and man, I mean. The groove is so hard. You know, I'm used to playing saxophone and locking in, you know. So and you know, you got the walking the rhythm. And so man, when I'm playing, and you know, I'm at my flute shop.
Yeah, working on that thing. Yeah.
You know, I said, but man, and so I'm sweating. It's come time for the flute solo. The flute is like sliding across the and so I'm getting air, and I finally connect the note, man. I just hang on to that note.
Yeah. We get one. We get one. I'm good. I'm good. Because when you play, we did Scotland. We did that.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
We toured. You know, and the thing I love about touring is that it gives you that night after night after night. Exactly. You know, energy. And when you come, you know, when you find, like, if you do like a week and then that next week, man, it all's a little different now. Man. You know, because now we like, oh, yeah.
And another thing that I noticed, man, is that those people in Europe, man, they know the music. They know, they got the records. You sign the autographs at the, I mean, it was like, wow, man, this stuff serious. I'm like, wow. Yeah. Okay.
And to this day, we are still really, really very popular in Europe. There are a lot of bands that came out of us, the brand new heavies, and a lot of groups that, my drum beats have been sampled, God knows, for however long. But the point is that when we first went to Europe in England in '76, there was only one radio station. There was only one form of communication. It was a BBC One. And I think then they came up later with the BBC Two, and there's all kind of stuff now. But people relied on live music and recordings. So I never forget, we played at the Odeon Hammersmith, man, and I think Happy Music and all that just come out. And we were in a dressing room, and there was like a window, like to the alley or whatever, man. We come to the window, man, all these kids are standing out in the alley, man, with shopping bags full of our records.
Wow. Unbelievable.
For us to sign. And I kind of was like, wow, I was like blown away. I mean, we signed the record stuff. We did live with Montreal, with Bobby Humphreys, and all kinds of stuff. And it's that their appreciation for music, man.
It's beautiful.
It's just at another level.
Yeah. So there's a story of being on the road with the Blackbyrd. And we call it the leprechaun and the sneaker. We're not going to talk about that.
We're not going to talk about that.
But you remember that story?
I remember that story. Very well, matter of fact. I remember that story.
Oh, man.
But the beauty of traveling is that always it's going to be, it's no fun if there's no incident. Something got to happen, And whether it's on the airport or whether it's in the thing, that's all the thing, man,
And that's why we doing this, man, because it's through the stories. I mean, it's painful when you're going through it.
Oh yeah.
But when you can get through it and look and reflect on it, it's got some magic in it.
It does. It is really why we do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's
I mean, working a job, teaching school, I love it, all that. But there's magical moments there. But those are some magical moments.
And you get through them, man, and you learn the lesson, but you can laugh. And then it's book material.
It's book material. It's movie material.
Exactly. There you go. So
and you're right. And I love what you're doing. I want to thank you for this, man. Because I mean, musicians make musicians, and they always have and always will. And the stories that we share, even though if you were like a learned journalist from, you wouldn't have the compassion or passion that you have for this, because these stories are real.
Yeah.
And you lived through them, and you were part of them, and it wasn't that you just looked up some stuff on the internet and said, well, you were born and blah, blah, blah. It's not that. There's a connection. And not to say that the journalists aren't good and not thorough. Jake Feinberg and all those guys that I've interviewed with, but I like this. I like this.
And it's jazz.
It's jazz.
It's just and I don't speak the King's English that well. I
didn't know with that.
But I keep it real.
Keep it real.
So
that's what we do.
And just one more with the Blackbyrd. So what's on with the Blackbyrds? What's on the
horizon?
Is it still?
Yeah, we just filmed a video for Prince George's County Parks and Rec called Live Blackbyrds. Well, put it this way. We had, with all that's going on, we really hadn't played in a minute, really since last year almost, December. And so, we had to crank up the juices again. But the passion is always there. We had to make some changes. We got some personnel situations that we have to manage. But in all, the Blackbyrds are doing a lot of things.
Beautiful.
Doing a lot of things.
Look out for the Blackbyrds. They're gonna,
and I got a book coming out called "Show Me the Money."
Show me the money,
show
baby.
Me the money. and I use Kashif and several other artists that have written books on royalty and royalty rates. And I did a seminar a couple of years back, about just what that looks like, And so
So I'm gonna close it up.
Okay.
This final question or thing I want to add. We both educators, and we both have taught in D.C. public schools and taught you. How important to you? First of all, what have you learned from being an educator?
What I have learned, it's a lot. It's a
The
lot.
good, bad, the ugly, right?
Yeah. Well, what I have learned about as an educator in the arts is that the arts aren't necessarily looked upon as the key, when in fact, even during this time right now, most people use music and dance to entertain themselves, to try to get over whatever's going on. What I've learned is that even if a student knows nothing, has no prerequisite background or nothing in music, that introducing them to this is the greatest thing you could do for them. Whether they want to do it right now or 20 years from now. I've had students come to me. I was in the airport. The guy said, "Oh, Mr. Killgo, I was in your class."
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
That's heavy.
you know, now that was 25 years ago, whatever. But he remembered something about the music and the passion. What I've also learned is that until we create, and I had an interview with some other young folks the other day, until we create Duke Ellingtons in Wards 8s, 7 and 8s, and then the Hoods in Philadelphia and in Detroit.
Yes, sir.
I mean, Detroit has a little better infrastructure, but until we put those schools accessible, just as successful as any regular high school or STEM school or whatever, are we going to save more of our black children's lives?
Exactly.
Because I know from Just Paul, even from Raymond and from various other artists that I've had a chance to work with, that it gave them something else to do. You know, and where I teach now in this Ward 7, Ward 8, the gun violence and all the stuff. But when they in the band, I can say, thank you, honest, I've not lost a band member to street violence. I have lost a dancer to some other stuff, but
I've lost a couple of students that I had to look in their car.
It's a heavy situation.
But man, I never thought I'd be a teacher. I mean, I just kind of landed in it, and it helped me be a father.
Yeah.
You know, because I didn't come up with a father. So I'm just being with these young kids, man, and learning patience. I'm thinking I said, man, y'all don't understand the kids, baby. Put me in the worst school. And I got that joke. I said,
oh, Lord. Well, that's the other thing. You hit a great point. We as educators have this prerequisite that we think should be met based on what we think we know. Till they throw you in that swamp with them alligators down there, okay, all that you know ain't gonna mean nothing. Okay, that's done. Okay,
man.
You just got to swim and hope to get to shore for one of them grab you. But the kids teach me.
Yeah.
You know.
I think once the kids realize you really care about them and that you're genuine, you're not just there to teach. I'm not just there to teach music. No. I'm trying to help you to find your best self. Yeah. And you know, if your father ain't there, if your mom is not doing, I don't care. Yeah. You know, you can still make it out here. Yeah, but reality is reality. And so me as a teacher, one of the things I really learned is that I don't compromise what I expect from you. I'm sorry about your background, and I know it's not going to be the perfect situation, but when you get in the real world, don't nobody care about that. Yeah. Okay? So let's stand up, and face the music, and 1, 2, 3, go. Okay? While you worrying about all that, we halfway down the street. Do your kids love you?
They say they do, but I doubt it.
Of course they do, man. And I'm gonna tell you, the beautiful thing about teaching is that it's not always an immediate gratification. Sometimes it's way down the line when they come back to you. The school that I'm teaching now, and I've been this is my 4th year at the school, at this particular school. Anyway, my first year, I had a 3rd grader, and he said something. You know, I'm trying to get him one line. He said so. I ain't gonna even say what he said, but he said something. Right. And I don't take none of it personally. Yeah, but his teacher overheard him what he was saying. And so, you know, I ain't thinking nothing of it. You know, I just whatever. But the next day I come to school, the discipline guy,
deans or whatever.
He comes to my room, Mr. Parker, such and such, his father's something happened yesterday. Is here to see you. So I said, okay. And then I remember, so I go down the hall to this office, and my little student is there with his dad. So his dad walks up to me and said, "You used to be my teacher."
I know, man. Ain't that crazy?
Yeah, and you can and you used to see the look on it.
Yeah.
I mean, man, I was like, and I remember the guy, and that was 20 years ago.
I know, man. I know.
You know,
I
man.
know.
So that's one of the, you know,
one of the gems of it.
yeah.
And like you say, you never know who you are affecting. You remember I wrote something to you about that your presence demands certain people to do certain things. Some people aren't capable of doing it right now. They're just not ready for that.
Yeah.
You know, but it's there.
Yeah.
You know, and like, so my students have this thing where I do, you know, we have special needs students and that kind of stuff. And those kids I love the most because they really see through the nonsense. They know I'm not fake, you know?
Yeah.
I can get what I consider my greatest achievement. They call me Mr. B flat. That's how we play one note. Okay.
Wow.
My whole marching band.
Yeah.
Bap. Bap. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
You know?
yeah.
But it teaches them rhythm. It teaches them spacing.
Yeah.
It teaches them timing.
Yeah.
You know,
Good
and we can
feel
go,
and all,
and we can go from a whole note to a half note to that's how we quarter note to an eighth note, but play one note.
Wow, that's beautiful.
You know. So,
Man, we can go on.
I know.
You know, we can go on and on with stories.
I appreciate you, man, very much, very
man,
much.
I'm
proud
thankful
of you.
Thank you, appreciate you, man. And if you never heard me say thank you for giving me an opportunity, thank you. And on behalf of all us youngins that were at Howard at that time, Howard University, and you also, you know, Howard graduate, so
yes.
it's all good.
Yeah,
you know?
it's all good.
So, man, thank you for being a part of this. Do you anything you like? How can the people?
Yeah, if you want to get in
people,
touch with me, you know, it's www.keithkillgo@gmail.com. It's my email address. I mean, I've got a foundation called Arts, ARTZ, the number 4, Kids, KIDZ.
Okay.
And we're getting ready to start our thing. We're going to be doing a lot of different things in the county. Going to look for money, you know.
The book is How to Get the
Yeah, and show me the money.
Show me the money.
Show me the money. You know, and it's also about aligning yourself with people who aren't as familiar with what you do as you are. And once people find out that you're really doing something for somebody that's not, I'm not here to make any money off of it. I'm here to get money for them so that I can make these kids have an opportunity to do things they would not be able to do ordinarily. Scholarships. I got one student, Jarrell King. He made it to Yale.
Wow,
you know,
beautiful.
Out of the hood.
Out of the hood. Wow.
But he's a different kind of guy. He plays trombone in the band. He's Mr. B flat himself. And, you know, I got another one, Khalil Parrish is getting ready to go to UDC to work with Alan Johnson, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So
It's a beautiful thing.
I mean, it's one at a time, one note at a time, one day at a time.
Yeah,
but that's what it is.
Well, again, man, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And, man, you brought us a wealth of stories and knowledge and information and all that, man, so we appreciate you.
Oh, thank you.
So
All right.
So with that, you're listening to A Conversation in Jazz. Thank you for our guest today, Mr. Keith Killgo. And we'll see you on the next one. Have a great day.